Hey everyone, I'm Steph with Steph's Door Decor. Today we're making this super cute summer ladybug inspired wreath with lots of polka dots and a welcome sign. And so I hope you join me for this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified of future videos. Let's get started. Make sure you stay tuned to the end and I will show you how I make this beautiful bow. This summer ladybug wreath was inspired by this ribbon, which I just fell in love with the gingham check and the ladybugs all over. So I went ahead and found some other ribbon that I thought coordinated well with it. We have this small red and black polka dot, the really large black and white polka dot. I might incorporate some of this flower, I'm not sure yet. And then I had these white with multicolored polka dots that I thought kind of tied it all together. This red welcome sign, which I'm still not sure about, but we're going to go ahead and play with it and see what we think as we go along. And then I have this item that I purchased online. I'm not sure if we're going to use this. It's a wired paper thing. I'm really not sure what it does, but we'll see how far we go with that and what happens. As our base, we're going to start with the burlap mesh, and this is a 21-inch roll, and I'm going to show you how to secure that to this work wreath form. And this has this is a 24-inch work wreath form with the twist ties already attached. The first step to assembling our wreath is going to be to put the Deco Mesh onto the wreath form. And in order to do that, we're going to start with gathering it up. And this is 21 inches of Deco Mesh. So we're just going to gather it up in our hands just like this and put it into the first twist tie. I usually start with the inner ring and then work my way to the outer ring, but you can do however you want. And give it a couple of twists, and then we're going to measure about 10 inches in between the twist ties, and it'll poof up a little bit, and then you're going to twist it again, and then moving on to the next twist tie, same thing. And you can adjust the size of the poof. In case you have twist ties that are either closer together or further apart, you might need to do that. So they might not all be 10 inches exactly. You want the poofs to be more uniform than anything else, if that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way around the inner ring, and then we're going to move to the outer ring. As we move to the outer ring, I'm just going to take the Deco Mesh and come right down, make a poof, and come to the next twist tie over, and then secure it into place. And then we're going to just continue on onto the outer ring until we've gone all the way around. When you get to the end, just take the tail and cut it. And you will have a little bit of Deco Mesh left over. Go ahead and tuck that right on into a poof there. That way it doesn't show at all. And there you have it. That's our base. Next, I'm going to cut the ribbon, and I've got 4 different types of ribbon. I've got this black and white polka dot, and it's so fun. The ribbon that I use is always wire edged, and you want to make sure that when you're doing a wreath you use wire edged ribbon, because otherwise it will just flop all around and it won't look good. So with these, I'm cutting these 14 inches for this particular wreath. And I usually gauge the size that I cut them by how large the poofs are in the wreath. I want them to stick out a little bit, but not too much. So we're going to go ahead and cut 9 strips of the black and white polka dot, and then we're going to move on to the next ribbon. One thing I like to do is in between cutting my ribbon, I like to sharpen my scissors, and a lot of that ribbon that you're using, the wire is very thick and it really takes, your scissors take a beating. So I'm going to link this down for you below. It's a Fiskars scissor sharpener and it really helps a lot. Okay, I've got all my ribbon cut, and the last step before I put it into the wreath is I'm going to dovetail the ends of the ribbon. And to do that, I put a couple different strips of ribbon together, and then I fold it in the middle and I cut it from the crease out to the outer corner. And then it gives you a nice little dovetail that is nice and finished looking. And I do that on both ends of the ribbon. And the reason I put multiple strips of ribbon together is it just saves time. I'm going to next take my ribbon and put it into the twist ties of the wreath. And what I like to do is put one of the 2.5-inch ribbon with a 1.5-inch ribbon. And I liked the black and white with the red. And I'm going to pinch it in the middle and then undo a twist tie and insert it right into the twist tie. And then I spread it apart, make an X with the 2 different ribbon. And then I'm going to work my way around the wreath with this same pattern. Next, I'm putting the ladybugs with the multicolored polka dot and going to put that right into the twist tie, twist it, give it a couple twists, and then separate out the ribbon. And this is where your wire-edged ribbon is really important, because if you have non-wire-edged ribbon, your ribbon's just going to flop all over the place and it won't look good. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the inner ring, and then I will go around the outer ring. And I cut 9 strips of each ribbon. That's because there's 18 twist ties and we're alternating. This already is starting to look so cute. All of the ribbon is in, and for our next step, we are going to insert the sign. All right, now for the signs. I'm going to show you how to do this bow at the end. First, I wanted to show you the signs. I decided that I started with this red welcome sign, and it's foam, and I didn't really love the quality of it. It just seemed flimsy. So I went ahead and I had this welcome sign. It's just a corrugated board of some kind of a chipboard, and it was not painted. You can see on the back here, this is what it looked like. So I just decided to paint it white with some spray paint, and I'll show you what I use here in a minute. But I really like how that pops, and it's just a much sturdier, nicer sign. Okay, this is what the sign looked like before I painted it. So it's just a fabricated board, and it's a sturdy sign, so I liked it, and it was also really inexpensive. So I just used some chalk paint, white chalk paint that I had on hand, and this is another type of white spray paint that you could use. It doesn't really matter, either will work fine. I've gone ahead and spray painted the sign. So now I'm going to secure some chenille stems to the back of the sign, and that's how we're going to attach it to the wreath. So before I do that, I'm going to figure out where I want to put the sign. And with this wreath, I liked it just right in the center like that. And so I'm figuring out approximately where I want to put it and where I want my twist ties to go. So right here on the W, and then right here on the other side of the E, that's where I'm going to put my chenille stems. Grab your chenille stem and then use your staple gun to staple it into place. It makes the chenille stem nice and secure, and when you attach the sign to the wreath, it's not going anywhere. This is a great way to fasten any kind of a sign that you want to the wreath. To attach it to the wreath, go ahead and grab your wreath and then figure out where you're putting that sign. And then you're going to put the chenille stems all the way around to the back of the frame of the wreath form. So you're going to wrap that chenille stem right around the Deco Mesh and any ribbon that's in the way, and you're just going to attach it to the frame of the wreath form, and do that on both sides. Flip the wreath over and locate those chenille stems. Give them a few more twists. And I was having a hard time figuring out what was going on with this one. And I had it wrapped around a couple of the different levels of the frame. So I fixed that, and it only needs to be around one of the wires. And give it a few twists, and then just tuck that chenille stem right in, or you might need to wrap it around if it's extra long, and just do that on both sides until the sign is nice and secure in place. Okay, now your sign is nice and secure, it's not going anywhere, and you can kind of bring some of that ribbon back out if it's gotten sort of tucked in there after you put on the sign, and just kind of fluff that ribbon all the way around it, and until it's the way that you'd like it. To make a great big colorful bow, what we're going to do is use strips of ribbon, and we're going to make a loop with each, and then tails, 2 tails on each end. I'm measuring the tails about 12 inches, and the loop is also about 12 inches, and you're going to fold it over, so it's going to make about a 6-inch loop. And we're going to keep doing that with as many ribbon as you want. So the next ribbon I'm using here in this bow is the black and white polka dot. Measuring out a little bit longer tail on this one and making a loop, and I'm just measuring that loop with the other loop that I already have. I'm not super exact in my measurements. I just kind of eyeball it. So if you're super exact, you might want to go ahead and measure out each one. I just like to use my eyes and see what looks good. So I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to do that with more ribbon, and you can vary the colors of the ribbon as you go. You can do all the ribbon that you've already put into the wreath and use those, or you can add in some different colors, and I've done that before. Used completely different ribbon to bring into my bow, and it just gives a little bit more variation of color. And you can make as many loops as you want, and I'm starting off here with 3. Make sure you always are using wire edged ribbon. You don't want to use non-wire edged because it will just be floppy. The loops will be floppy, and you just can't shape it. So that's my recommendation. So you're going to pinch the ribbon in your left hand. Well, for me, it's my left hand. And then I'm using my right hand to do all of the cutting and measuring. And you're gathering up each strip of ribbon, and you're making sure that the right side of the ribbon is facing out, and you give it a little twist so that the right side faces out on the other side as well, and then just give that a cut. And once you've put the bow in place, you can always trim up the tails too. So I'm going to keep doing this until I have as many loops as I want. By the way, this is a great way to use up extra ribbon. If you don't have quite as much as you need for a full wreath, this is a great way to use up ribbon if you just have a few feet of it. So I have 9 loops, and I'm going ahead and just pinching it, still pinching it in that same spot. I'm taking a chenille stem and just wrapping it right around and twisting it really tight, really tight until it is nice and secure. And I kind of think it looks like a squid a little bit with all the tails. So you're going to go ahead and attach it to the wreath at this point. Now I'm ready to attach the bow, and I'm going to separate out all of those ribbon tails so that they're going on 2 sides of all of the loops. And then I'm going to take that chenille stem and wrap that right around the wreath form onto the wreath frame, and I'm going to tie it there nice and secure. Turn the wreath over and grab that chenille stem, give it more twists, and make sure it's nice and secure with the chenille stem wrapped around the wreath frame. And once it's all twisted up, you can just tuck that chenille stem right into the back of the wreath frame. Take a few minutes to fluff the bow, pulling out the loops and kind of arranging them where you would like the loops to be. And you just want to, with a wire-edged ribbon, this is really easy to do. You can place them where you'd like them. The next step is to take the ends of your ribbon tails and dovetail the ends. And you're going to do this the same way that you did the rest of the ribbon in the wreath. You're going to fold it lengthwise and cut it, or fold it and cut it from the fold to the outer corner. The last thing I like to do with my ribbon, and this is completely a personal preference, but I like to give it a little bit of a curl and onto the ribbon tails. So the way I'm going to do that is just slide the ribbon between my fingers, and with the wire-edged ribbon it will just form to what your fingers are telling it to do. So this is just gives it a little bit of a fun look to the wreath, and if you want to leave them straight, you can. You might, depending on the sign that you have in the middle, you might need to trim up some of those ends of those ribbon tails so they don't get in the way of the sign, but this just gives it a really fun look. Thank you guys for joining me for this wreath tutorial. I hope it was inspiring to you to create your own ribbon streamer wreath for the summertime. And this look can go from spring into summer, and I just think it's really fun with the cute little ladybugs. So you guys have a great day, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching.